Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavityam Karavavaghay Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vitvishavaghay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Good evening. We had some very sensitive topic discussion in the last class. It's been 2 weeks. Last week we could not have. So I hope there has been enough time for reflection, thinking, etc. And if you have any questions, just keep them with you. And we will have a short discussion today and have more space for question answers, because last class we could not have question answers. It was a long discussion. So we discussed about the karma, reincarnation, and what is the whole point of that approach to the knowledge of karma and reincarnation, and the conditions that define us at the based on our birth, the varana dharma, all those things we discussed in the last class. So the essential point is, any spiritual knowledge that we derive from Shastra is for our own benefit and growth. This is one. Second, whatever recommendations, warnings, injunctions, and prohibitions that the Shastra gives us are of different kinds for people from different categories. You don't have one uniform recommendation for everybody. Somebody with a Shudra temperament, there is a recommendation. Somebody with a Brahmana temperament, there is a recommendation. Somebody with a Kshatriya temperament, there is a different recommendation. Somebody with a Vaishya temperament, there is a different recommendation. And for the one who is completely confused, who doesn't belong anywhere, who doesn't know where he or she belongs, like our woke leftist people these days, for them also Shastra has recommendation. Tat pratidhedartham ekatattva abhyasa. The Shastra has a recommendation from Patanjali Yoga Sutra. And we have the normal Samanya Dharma, where the common universal values that are common for all of us, and all of us can practice irrespective of the personal situations and considerations. And to what extent one could practice based on each person's individual social position, responsibilities, temperaments, limitations, and the privileges and blessings, etc. Based on that, the extent to which the universal values are practiced and interpreted and practiced changes according to the individual. So the knowledge of dharma is a growing clarity, and the knowledge of swadharma, one's own dharma, or one's own, it's not actually one's own dharma, the knowledge of one's own place in the wisdom of dharma, the knowledge of one's own role within the spectrum of dharma, within the scope of dharma, what is one's role, how one should act, how one should approach dharma. So that the karma part, the karma means the one, the Purusha Tantram, that which is dependent on the individual, how the individual must approach Dharma from his own personal situation in a way that is beneficial for oneself, for achieving one's various goals. Could be wealth and security, could be pleasure and enjoyments, could be moksha. There is no wrong goal, there is no unholy goal. Every desire that is not opposed to Dharma is a holy desire. This is one of the very important things that we learn in uh, when we understand the true spiritual wisdom of Sanatana Dharma. We understand that there is no wrong desire as long as the desire conforms to Dharma, and as long as the means to acquiring the desire conforms to Dharma. So, money, desire for money is okay, desire for all kinds of sensual pleasures is okay, is good, nothing wrong. Desire for fame and success and glory is okay. Desire to achieve something, being ambitious to become somebody, desire for power is okay. All of these are great. And desire for liberation is great. It just says that the smartest person will naturally gravitate towards the desire for liberation. So the entire approach is based on that. We discussed all that. So this is one of the main points that we need to take from that. Desha Kala Patra. So when we are trying to arrive at our Swadharma, how my approach to Dharma should be, then we have to see at what time, in which place, and who am I. So based on that, the approach to Dharma is defined and understood, and it is a growing clarity. It is not like a set of a bunch of commandments some guy gives you and then you just blindly follow, universally everybody imposed on everybody. It's not like that. So the interpretation of the universal values also changes from person to person and context to context. A simple example, a very famous example, is cutting with a knife. Cutting a person is not correct, it is violence. But amputating a leg to save the person is considered as medical help, and it is considered, it should be considered as non-violent. So the context is everything, and the individual is everything. Individual and the context and the relationship between the individual and the context is everything when it comes to our approach to Dharma. And it is not easy. It is a growing clarity, and that's something that requires guidance from people who are more sattvic and who are more devoted to knowledge and who are less carried away by personal desires, whose perception is clearer than us, right? And whose wisdom is more mature than ours. So, such a guidance is always required for spiritual wisdom, be it regarding dharma or be it regarding moksha or knowledge, jnana, be it regarding dharma or jnana, be it regarding righteous way of living, or or be it about the journey to liberation, hmm, the knowledge of liberation. In both cases, when we give the benefit of doubt to the Shastra and question our conclusions, we assume that the Shastra is right and proceed from there. And our dedication is to correct our thinking and align our thinking in line with the Shastra. That is where the role of the Guru comes. So, once we are okay, we are at least, even though we may not have the perfect Shraddha, at least once we are clear that we are not at war with Shastra, we are not in war with religion. Religion in the sense here, we are not in war with the spiritual wisdom of the scriptures. We are not at war with the scriptures and the tradition. At least having come to that level, the next most important thing becomes the Guru. Now, this is another very important topic that has been mired in confusion. Right? There is a huge amount of uh, romanticism involved in this, including myself. I was carried away as a child, as a youngster, with a lot of spiritual romanticism, reading books like Living with Himalayan Masters, and these standard books that inspire you for spiritual life. These autobiography of yogi, these kind of very famous books. So they inspire you for spirituality, but the side effect is that we get caught up in some kind of a spiritual romanticism when it comes to the search for the Guru. And on top of that, we have these statements from very great Mahatmas that the Guru is within and all that. That would have been told by him to one or two people, somebody at in a special context, and then people will take it and then make it like a universal rule. The Guru is within. But when it comes to even learning ABCD, we have to go to a Guru in the school, right? So why all the knowledge doesn't come from within? The point, and at least there is another. Then they say that the Guru comes to only tell you and show you how to go within. Okay, so we don't want to go into that too much. But since we are now talking about the spiritual knowledge according to the Shastra and the tradition, Guru is very clearly defined. The Shastra itself gives a very clear definition for a Guru, and the word is called Shrotriya. Shrotriya means the one who has listened and followed from the instructions of his or her own Guru. That is a Shrotriya. I am giving a broad interpretation. Shrotriya is a person, ideally speaking, because the term comes in Upanishad, it is talking about the Vaidika Shrotriya, means the one who has listened to the Vedas and one who has listened to the teachings from his teacher and who has followed. So one who has gone through the whole, uh, the whole rigor of Veda Dhyana and everything. So now that is the ideal scenario. So we can keep on, repeating that like a parrot. Oh, Shrotriya Brahmanishta, Shrotriya Brahmanishta. But how does it practically translate in our current situation and in our current practical reality? That is what we are here to discuss today, right? So Gurumeva Bhikachet Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam, it comes in Mundaka Upanishad. Now Shrotriya Brahmanishta, if you go by the very strict definition, probably except the Shankaracharya and a handful of others, you will not find any Shrotriya Brahmanishta around. Yeah. So everybody cannot, it is not practical to go and get a personal uh, direction and teaching and personal guidance, for all. It's not possible. And also, if you go to a Mathadipati, a master who is also heading an organization, let me put it in a very broad way, a master, a true master who is also heading an organization, that person is under a lot of practical restriction. Person may not be able to become available for every seeker around. One can always, just to take a blessing, one have to, when you go to a very great Mahatma, during Chaturmasim and all that, just to take a namaskara, you will have to wait in queue for hours. Then where it comes the teaching and all that. So it comes to listening to the discourses and you're thinking about it. Yes. To have a discussion, to ask questions, then it becomes very difficult. Then there is a huge protocol to follow in order to qualify ourselves to be in the circle that has a discussion with that acharya. To have a discussion with that acharya itself is like It's a huge process. You will have to go through an entire lifestyle, or probably wait for various lives, life after life after life. You will have to wait and then arrive at the doorstep of such an acharya. Having started the conscious spiritual quest, so I'm not talking about uh, arriving at spirituality after a lot of random lives. I am talking about born with the passion, the desire for spiritual wisdom, both in terms of dharma and in terms of jnana. Dharma, both in terms of righteousness, dharma, righteous life, and jnana, which wisdom, knowledge of the self, enlightenment. For both purposes, having arrived at an appreciation for these goals, unfortunately, because of the nature of our age, or because of the nature of our times, age means the times, the era that we are living in, the social reality, not all are blessed enough to follow the Vaidika Dharma, to be and live the Vaidika Dharma to the word, to the letter. Even those who are doing Vedadhyanam and everything, even they have a life that is filled with compromises. A very simple thing, one of the great Shankaracharyas, uh, when he was there, he was considered as a living god, embodiment of tapasya. People worship him even today. That Mahatma, he was called Mahaswami, a very great person. It is a blessing to live in the century that he lived. That is how most of us consider. So he tried a very simple thing. The people in the ashram and most of his followers should not have coffee. It's a very simple thing. South Indians are obsessed with coffee, especially Brahmins. So he said no coffee. He could not implement that. You will not believe. The habit of drinking coffee is so deeply ingrained. In spite of having a walking God as one's guru, many people were not able to. They were very good in so many other ways. Many people were not able to implement it, but they were very good in so many other ways. They were following all the rituals and the lifestyle and the discipline and everything, but somehow they could not leave this coffee in spite of being under the blessing of such a great guru, right? So there are a lot of deeply ingrained shortcomings that we have, both in terms of destiny and in terms of personal effort and in terms of our level of ability to be committed, etc., on various fronts. So because of that, even though theoretically the information about the ideal guru and everything is available, and we may want to be under the care of that guru, it is very rare that a person pauses for a moment and thinks, what is my level of qualification? Everybody wants to join IIT, but can everybody join IIT? In the same way, the ideal guru, as told by the Mundaka Upanishad, Shrotriya Brahmanishta, might be there. And I may even know that person is a Shrotriya, somebody who has been widely recognized as a Shrotriya Brahmanishta. But am I qualified? What? And even if I am granted the satsanga with that person, even if I am granted the audience and am blessed with the proximity to that person, how much will I be able to take? They say, a donkey may carry a load of diamonds, but it may not know its value. They say, because it is a donkey, right? So I will have to be blessed with a teacher who is accessible for me, right? The teacher who is accessible for me is based on my level of qualification. I can always, so I have to start working with the teacher to whom I have access, and then start working from there. And based on my dedication, based on my discipline, based on my austerity and commitment, the divine grace will, and based on my growth, the divine grace will take me to the next level of teacher. When I am ready for the next level of teacher, I will go at the doorstep of that teacher. I will, I will be made available to the teacher, and the teacher's proximity will be made available to me. Then I can move further to that teacher. You know, I am in ninth standard or eighth standard, no, eighth grade, eighth standard, eighth grade. I want to become a space scientist or some nuclear scientist or something. I want to become a. I heard stories about Einstein and everything, and I was very impressed, and I want to become a nuclear scientist. Great. Now, so I go straight and walk into Caltech and then try to enroll. It will not work. So I have to go stage by stage. But I have to concentrate and I have to listen to become a nuclear scientist after to go through the whole university and everything. I will have to cross my eighth grade, cross my ninth grade, cross my 10th grade. So in eighth grade, I will have to respect and listen to my eighth grade teacher. In ninth grade, I have to listen to my ninth grade teacher. So when I am in my ninth grade teacher is my guide. He is my guru. He is going to take me. So without respecting and listening to and taking the helping hand of my ninth grade teacher, I will not be able to reach. When I reject this and then try to go and I say I will learn directly from Einstein, it will not work. So I will have to go through my ninth grade teacher. Then once I am done with that, then I'll go to my 10th grade teacher. Like that, step by step. Then I go to the university, PhD, postdoctoral. And then in the process, if I am lucky, I will be taken under the wings of a mentor of a very great research scientist, and then working under him slowly, like how we hear about Rutherford and Niels Bohr, like that. So you go under the tutelage of a master. So in the same way, in spirituality also, when we talk about guru, so we need somebody to interpret the shastra, the spiritual wisdom, the literature containing the spiritual wisdom, to interpret it in the right way and to help me not be carried away by my own likes and dislikes and preferences and my own fancies. I will need a teacher. I will need a guru, an acharya who will bridge the gap between me and the shastra. That's what the acharya does. So, if a person is a shrotriya, if the person, I will put it in a even more broad way, because those who have really gone through the perfect regime of study are very, very less. So at least what we need is a person who has some decent level of exposure, good enough to guide me, and the one who is really keen on my growth, not only in filling his pocket. Filling his pocket is fine, because the guru needs dakshana, the guru needs to eat, the guru may have a family, guru may have a, if not a family, at least the guru has a belly that needs to be fed, and there is a lifestyle that needs to be maintained. That is all right, but provided With all that, there is a genuine care for my growth. We will treat it like a product. Okay. So since spirituality is a $1 billion industry, I will talk in terms of industry. So when we go to a shop to buy a product, the product has a price, it has a quality. We say we get what we pay for, but sometimes we are taken for a ride. So what we need is a shop that has the goods that we need in the price that is affordable for us, or if the price is a little beyond my reach, there is some kind of a scheme to help me get it and help me rise up to it, or some kind of like they have this EMI and all that, so they make it easy for me to get it. And so the shop, as much as the seller, the shop, the business person, the one who is selling the product, as much as they are motivated by profit, at least equally to that they must be motivated by the customer satisfaction. The customer satisfaction and the benefit for the customer. The customer who comes should benefit from the product. So it is important the person gets the right product and the right quality and at the right price. So there must be some kind of a dedication to this dharma of sales, right? It's not like a con, like you somehow, like in this hawker market, somehow they, it's a one-time thing. They somehow try to rip you off in some street market where you bargain and all that, and it's a whole nasty game, right? So that should not be the case when it comes to the guru. So the guru must not be a person very busy selling packages. At least if you ensure that much is enough. And if the guru is a human being, it's all right for the guru to be a human being with his own flaws and all that. What matters is how the guru or the acharya handles his flaws. As a human, except Bhagavan, nobody is perfect. So how that master handles his, or a master or the guru or acharya, one our guide, how he or she handles their flaws and faces their challenges, and how committed are they to following the wisdom that they are imparting to us. This is what we need to see. So Brahmanishta would be the commitment they have to the spirit of the Shastra. This is a very broad definition that I'm giving. Even there, it is difficult to find. But more than this, the definition cannot be compromised. So the person is very keen on my growth, on making me understand, very dedicated to my welfare, preferably more dedicated to my welfare than to filling up his pocket, because it is a spiritual wisdom. Some kind of selflessness and love is expected from the guru, like how one expects from a mother. The guru should be like that. That is the recommendation. If that is there, great. If not, at least the person must be dedicated to my welfare as much as they are dedicated to their own selfish needs from being in the profession of a spiritual uh, you know I don't want to use the word shopkeeper, from the spiritual wisdom service provider, can say, like how we hire Vedic priests, how we go and take the services of Vedic priests, and how we go and take the service of astrologers and things like that. So I'm saying like that, the Dharmacharyas, the Upadhyayas, the Shastris, whom we meet in everyday life, these religious priests, right? So like that. So similarly, there may be yoga teachers, there will be Vedanta acharyas and all that. So they also require nowadays, since the whole Varnashrama dharma has completely collapsed for all practical purposes, they will also require to sustain a certain lifestyle that allows them to follow the rules and stay committed to the spirit of the teaching, that makes it easy for them and helps them to be available for the teaching for the students. So that will require a certain amount of resources. That is all right. So they must be able to rise above that for the welfare of the student. That is ideal. If not, at least they must give equal importance to the welfare of the student, not take care of their comfort at the cost of the student. If you ensure that much, it's enough, and not to expect more than this. Because if you keep on having ideal theoretical expectations, it's all nice talk, but practically we will end up nowhere. So we have to start working on what we have. So, like I said, a ninth grade teacher may not be uh, as inspiring and as deeply knowledgeable like a research guide whom we may meet in some world's top university or Nobel laureate research guide. But this ninth grade teacher serves his own purpose. So, in the same way, whichever guru we go, once we accept a person, once we see that this person can guide us, once we see that this person has what it takes to guide me regarding what I am seeking, once we are able to understand that, and once we are able to establish uh, a meaningful communication after ascertaining the background and all that, then we have to give the benefit of doubt and go with that. So, this is how we bridge the gap between ourselves and the Shastra through the help of a guide, a guru, an acharya. And the approach to finding one's acharya we discussed. And in this context, it is very important to say, to deal with one very fancy idea about Guru. They say when you are ready, the Guru finds you. There is this mystic thing about all when you are ready, the right Guru will find you. And then, somehow you are mysteriously led by uh, random events and very magical events that take you to your guru, and then the guru says recognizes you and all that, like we read in the spiritual novels. It need not be like that. I'm not telling that it is not possible, but it is very important not to be waiting for that. It's extremely important not to look for that and not to wait for that. And uh, and it is also important to understand that way of arriving at the guru is not necessary. It is very nice to watch it in a movie, like the sorcerer's apprentice. No, no, what is that? And that Doctor Strange, like that. We don't have to go, and it's all nice for the movies, but it is not what the Shastra recommends. The Shastra says we have to go to the Guru, do some research, and do a background check, and then go and approach. And when you see, I would say the circumstances will be conducive. There will be enough divine grace to take you to the Guru. Somehow you will meet the right person. So if when I am ready means when I am ready internally and my dedication is good enough and I have enough punya grace, I will somehow end up with the right teacher. The life will take you. So that's what it means. It does not mean that you will be sitting in your room and then the guru will come and knock. Oh dear, you are ready. I have been waiting in the Himalayas for 1,000 years to come and meet you. It need not be like that. So these kind of ideas we need to first get rid of and understand the spirit of it. When I am ready, that means I am ready in terms of my punya, my grace, and my internal preparation and my dedication, which allows the sequence of events in my life to take me to the right person at the right time when I need. So that is what it means. So it is basically an effect of punya that manifests and which is considered as divine grace. It's Ishvara Anugraha. That is what it is. Yeah. So, having said that, do not compromise practicality while being inspired by spiritual romanticism. That is the essence of what we discussed now. So, in this context, I would like to discuss one small point and then I will leave the floor for questions. I read today somewhere about a discussion a person has with Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj. The disciple asks him, am I have to trust my Guru even when he asks me to do something patently wrong? And Nisargadatta Maharaj replies, do it. And then he gives a example. A sannyasi had been asked by his Guru to marry. He obeyed and suffered bitterly, but his four children were all saints and seers, one of the greatest in Maharashtra. Be happy with whatever comes from your Guru, and you will grow to perfection without striving. Yeah. So here we need to understand the story. The story is given as an example, actually points to the fact that what Guru says may appear as wrong, but if you analyze it a little deeper, it will have a deeper relevance and it is not wrong. So, a Guru, what comes from the Guru, even if it appears for a normal standard as wrong, may not be wrong in a level of deeper significance, and upon further analysis it will come. For example, in this example that was given, this person who became a sannyasi did it not out of maturity but out of some frustration or something, and neglecting his duties without the permission of the wife. He just went away. And the wife later discovered that he had become a sannyasi. Right? So, but in the meanwhile, whoever this person who became a sannyasi under a guru, that guru had gone on a yatra. During the yatra, that guru had met this person's wife. And he blessed his, you know, he blessed her to have a child, to have, may you have virtuous children. Some when she took blessing, he blessed, and she said, "What you are blessing me like this? My husband has left and gone somewhere. I think I heard that he has become a sannyasi and all that. So how will it come?" He said, "What I have said will come true." And then later he discovers his own disciple was that person. Then he tells him to go and marry. So uh, there is a huge other story behind that. No, it's not about thing. So, and also we can say that the Guru found that this person is not ready for sannyasa, but artificially imposed sannyasa on him, lifestyle on himself when he was not ready. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a very clear shloka that says, sannyasa without maturity is painful. One has to become mature and qualify for taking sannyasa. So, to be a person of the world, following one's dharma and living a dharmic life and pursuing all the goals, personal goals, and attending to the family and all that, according to dharma, in an attitude of yoga, will make a person become mature. And eventually, the person may become ready for sannyasa. So, that way is better than forcing renunciation, a life of sannyasi upon oneself. And it is counterproductive. A mind that is not prepared, it is also told for meditation. It's better to do the right action with the right kind of focus and dedication if you have a very active mind, rather than sit and force and then sit and force yourself to meditate when the mind is running all around. That is also there. So this takes us back to our previous discussion where I said, you have to do the sadhana that is according to your level of maturity and vibe. So we have to accept our current level of way of being and start from there, and not artificially impose a different kind of being on us simply because it enjoys a better social recognition, or simply because it appears more fanciful to us. We have discussed that before. What he's trying to say is, a guru says something wrong means something that appears wrong to my current level of. That's what it means. But eventually we will discover it to be correct and relevant for us. Basically, it talks about giving the benefit of doubt to the guru. And there is one more point here. Since the guru we are talking about is not all just information, just information could come from Google AI. So the guru is not an AI. Guru is a person and is an embodiment of grace, divine grace. So because of the inner commitment the guru or the acharya has for the shastra and the devotion to Ishvara, the person enjoys a certain level of tuning with Ishvara, a certain level of inner tuning with the totality, the rhythm of life, the divine grace that connects all things in this universe. The person enjoys a certain level of tuning. So, when there is a genuine care and love from the guru coming to the disciple, from the right guru, having done the check and all that, once you accept a person as guru and you are the person is capable of guiding you, once the destiny has taken you to the guru, and the guru genuinely cares for you, and the guru is internally dedicated to the uh, spiritual truth, to the wisdom, to the teachings, to the tradition, and to Ishvara, because of the inner tuning, because of the guru's heart is in tune with the divine, and he or she genuinely cares for you, only what is beneficial for you will come out of their head, out of their mouth. It only what is beneficial for you will occur. So if the person is your guru, what they say to you will be beneficial. So you give the benefit of that. Even though it may not be agreeable. It is because the person enjoys a certain higher level of tuning, and the person is outside the spectrum of your likes, dislikes, and fancies and preferences. Because of that, the, the guru brings a new light, a new perspective, and a new dimension to the decision making process, and gives a recommendation from another level. So if you are stuck with a problem in one level, you cannot solve the problem in the same level. It has to be solved from a higher level of understanding. So all our, as an individual, I am stuck in a certain level and I am struggling. So the solution comes from outside this level through the guru. So the guru brings in a solution from a dimension that is higher than where I am struggling in. So I will be out of this whole domain of struggle. I will be lifted out of this sphere of struggle into another dimension completely. So the solution in the form of grace comes from outside the sphere of my struggle. So it may not look relevant, and it is directed for my benefit. So even if it may not look relevant for me right now, I will understand its significance in time. So I take it, giving the benefit of doubt to the guru, because I respect his position as the guru and his or her position as the guru, and I understand how the guru tattva works, how the principle of guru works, and how the principle of grace reaches me through the guru. Being a vehicle of grace, whatever comes through the guru will be beneficial for me. So that is the whole point here. So that is the spirit of this statement. It is not that uh, it is not a philosophical discussion on pitching the guru's words against a standard definition. No? A sannyasi should not marry. That is, once a person has taken sannyasa, there is no going back. That is what Sanatana Dharma says. No? You cannot become a monk, then renounce and become a new age guru, and then go around doing whatever you want. So it is not like that. You become a monk for 2 years, and then you become a householder after that, and then go and divorce, and then go and become a monk for another few years, then come back and marry another person, have a career, come in a Hollywood movie. It's not like that. Once you're a monk, you burn the bridges. There is no coming back. That is the whole point of sannyasa. So that's what Shastra says. The Guru is not denying. But in this case, there has been a mistake. He should not have become sannyasi in the first place. Okay, he became. So he went back. So because he took sannyasa because of lack of maturity, and the Guru sees what is better for him and recommended that, he did that. Why did he suffer in the society? Because the society is ruled by standard rules, right? There was a there was a very famous dacoit who became a monk under a great master. So when he goes to the village as a monk to beg food for the ashram, the villagers recognized him as the dacoit. So they thought he is the dacoit who is in a decoy, like a monk, come to rob the village. So they nicely bet him up. So he did not fight back. He was a very powerful person physically. He did not fight back. He stuck to the rules of the monkhood, to ahimsa, everything. He took the beating and came back to the uh, ashram. And through a discussion, he understood that it is not that he may have become a monk now, but the effect of his past actions are not going anywhere. So the impression in the people's mind is he's a dacoit. So when they recognize him, they don't recognize him as a monk. They know him only as a dacoit. So probably after a few days, once his credential as a monk is established, they are not going to beat him up later. But that is a different story. So when he says a sannyasi to marry, this is an exceptional case. So when a guru gives a apparently contradictory instruction, it may be an exceptional case. So these exceptional instructions are not to be made into a rule. Oh, that guru told that sannyasi to marry, it produced saints. So whoever is a sannyasi who falls in love with some girl can go and marry, it will produce saints. It's not like that. You have a lot of cases like that in Rishikesh. So so we cannot make it into a rule. So there are people who, especially when we are not, including myself, when I was young, I remember there is a tendency that whenever our mind is overwhelmed by a certain personal preference, and when we are reading the spiritual literature, this is a very important point, and this is exactly why we need a guru. Whenever we are overwhelmed by a person's preference and we are reading the scripture and the literature, we will have a tendency to look for exception. Or even when we listen to the guru, we will always have a tendency to glorify the exceptions and undermine the rule. That will be a tendency. That is why we bend down to the interpretation and the direction given by the guru, because the person who is playing the role of the guru is outside the sphere of my preferences, likes and dislikes, and is able to show the right perspective. And when I take that, I gradually allow my mind to free itself from the personal preferences and likes and dislikes. And once I am free of my personal story and all my personal preferences, once I am free from my personal defects, once my mind is free, I will be able to see what the Guru sees. And I will be able to see how what the Guru said is right. So then I will be able to interpret that same rule in the right spirit of it. So there may be a lot of words, but the spirit behind the words of the Shastra have to be revealed to me. I have to be helped to understand and appreciate the true spirit of the words of the Shastra. And for that, I will need a Guru. And that Guru has to be accessible, and that Guru has to be affordable in terms of so many factors. Affordability is not just money, affordability is my ability to follow that what the person says, my ability to make myself available, my ability to take in, understand what the person says, my ability to compromise or get rid of whatever the guru tells me to get rid of. So the guru who will advise me, able to advise me at my level, available, affordable, accessible, all that is required. And there must be some kind of a basic background check. Above all this, one needs Ishvara's grace, God's grace, to arrive at the proximity of the right guru for the right teaching at the right time. Yeah. So, uh, as a continuation of what we discussed in the last class, I thought this would be a very important topic that we could discuss now as a helpful factor. So, with this, I will stop the discussion, stop my monologue, and open the floor for questions. If there are any questions, you may ask. There are no controversial questions. You can ask any question. Just unmute and you can talk, or you can post it in the chat. We have 8 minutes left. Could you tell me the difference between Acharya and Guru? Acharya basically means the one who follows. When we talk traditionally speaking, according to Sanatana Dharma, when we say a Guru, we actually mean Acharya, the one who follows himself and the one who makes the other person follow. So Guru is another word for Acharya. Guru and Acharya are synonymous. So there is no, the one who is cannot be an Acharya should not be the Guru. That is the whole point. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam means Acharya. Gurumeva Bhigachet, here it means the Acharya. Acharya and Guru are same, there is no difference. There may be some fancy terms that people are telling Guru, Sadguru, Jnana Guru, Yoga Guru. The Guru is a person who removes your ignorance. Guru is basically a person. There is no Guru, there is a person. So if that person takes you out of your ignorance regarding a teaching, that person is your Guru. For that, there is even uh, when we say Guru Purnima and all that, when we celebrate, we go and we honor our music gurus, we honor our school teachers and all of that. Yeah? So when it comes to spirituality, Acharya and Guru are synonymous. Next.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Is there any preparation to learn Vedanta, or is it like any preparation or no preparation, especially any like yoga practice needed or nothing? Directly one can learn, or
If one has done all the preparation in the past life, one will be ready to learn now. Otherwise, no. Obviously, preparation is needed. That is why in Brahma Sutra, we have the first sutra, Athato Brahma Jignasa. Now, after acquiring all the required preparedness, inquiry into Brahman. So, one of the earliest discussions we had in this class, Nishta class, was about Sadhana Chatushtaya, Viveka Vairagya Mumukshutva Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. So we can refer to that, Sadhana Chatushtaya, the fourfold qualification for Vedanta. You Google, you will get. Just read about it. Make a 10-point scale for Viveka, for Vairagya, for desire for liberation. There are definitions given in text, simple definitions. given in text like Tattva Bodha. Just take it up, make a 10-point scale, then Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Samadhana, Shraddha, and mark yourself from 1 to 10 where you are. Then we know how prepared we are. As simple as that. A life dedicated to the spiritual rules of life, a way of life in every aspect of our life, tuning our every aspect of life to the spiritual truths that are behind the scene, as recommended by the Dharma Shastras and the Yoga Shastra, will prepare us for Vedanta. Just living a religious life may not be enough. A little bit of enquiry is required. And how to prepare for Vedanta is wonderfully said in the first shlokas of the beginning shlokas of Sadhana Panchakam and Upadesha Saram. Maybe in the next class we can discuss this. It's a very important topic. So, how to move from animalistic life driven only by self gratification, how to move from that to a spiritually attuned life, a religious life, a spiritual life. Religion has to be spirituality. So if you don't like the word religion, I will use the word spiritual life. Spiritual dharma, the life in tune with spiritual principles that govern various aspects of life. Living in tune with the spiritual principles that govern life. That is a spiritual life. Yeah? Living like that, coming from a life motivated by gratification, you move on to a life motivated by the spiritual principles and the universal values, and then moving into a life where inquiry into the nature of things, inquiry into the nature of self, and inquiry into the nature of what is eternal and transient, what is the self and the not self, and all that. Inquiry into the nature of reality, inquiry into the nature of sorrow and liberation from sorrow, from limitations and to the unlimited, from darkness to the light. So, inquiry about this journey, this uh, what I actually want, inquiry into the nature of the permanent and the eternal. Starting that while I am living a life dedicated to the spiritual principles and the universal value, and preparing my mind to take it away from all its habit patterns, to minimize the distractions and prepare the mind for making it ready for that inquiry. When we want to inquire into something, I need a certain quality of mind for that. So, what is the quality of mind for that? That is what is required for Vedanta. We can discuss that in class. So, that is what that quality of mind is defined by Sadhana Chatushtaya, the fourfold qualifications for a person. Adhikaritvam, it is called. Adhikari means the one who has the right aptitude for something.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we will discuss that in the next class. There's a very good lead for the next class. Vedanta is available online everywhere. Nobody's stopping you from listening. You can always go for a camp. But then, if one is honest, one has to see how much of the Vedanta I listened has worked, how much I am able to live and realize it in my life. So that will tell me how prepared or not prepared I am. Then you put reverse gear and come back to yoga and go through the whole process of yoga. Generally, without going through the process of yoga, even a religious life is not enough, actually. Because the Vairagya won't come. Vairagya, Viveka won't come. A religious life, in my understanding, takes one, a religious, spiritually motivated life, takes one to the doorstep of yoga. We learn the grace enough to bring you to the doorstep of yoga. And then from yoga, which is tapasya, you move to Vedanta. So if you see the Varna ashrama dharma, no? Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa, you say the Brahmacharya is basically study. Grihastha is basically dedication to Dharma, and within the protection of Dharma, pursuing one's Artha and Kama. Then Vanaprastha is about yoga, tapasya. So Vanaprastha is the preparation. The transition from Grihastha to Sannyasa is Vanaprastha, and the central point of Vanaprastha is the practice of yoga. So one has to go through that. In rare cases like Ramana Maharshi, they might have gone through the whole thing in the past life, and somewhere something must have missed up, so they must have picked it up where they left in this life. Like they say, na Suchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Abhijayate. It comes in Bhagavad Gita. So based on that. Okay. 7 o'clock. If there is any urgent question without which you cannot sleep, you can ask, otherwise I will finish the class. Okay. Nobody is asking anything. I will finish. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamuduchyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vatishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tatsate. Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.